Hey, y'all. My name is Bryant Young.
And Derek Chaney.
Here with the Decent Dads Podcast. Brand new episode this week.
That's right. Another good one. Nathan McCartney hopped on the show.
Yeah, another relatively new guy to us. But, man, it was fun. We had a good time.
It was. Very new guy, or at least for me. I hadn't met him before, last week. But, military guy, entrepreneur, came back, started working with family.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hitting all of the things that we really like to talk about.
Yeah, he had some great stories, some great dad advice as well, too. And the jokes were pretty good this week.
Yeah. Well, Nathan's was good. Spoiler alert, it went right over both of our heads.
It took us a couple
idiots.
times. Took us a couple times to get it, but we got there. That's the
you know a
important
joke
part,
is good when you have to explain it to the two idiots you're telling it to.
That's why we're decent dads.
Yeah, exactly. That's why we're only decent. So hope you guys enjoyed this one. We had a lot of fun. So I think we jump right into this.
Let's do it.
Decent Dads Podcast. Here we go. Good evening, folks, and welcome back to the Decent Dads Podcast. We're here to tell dad jokes, drink coffee, and build a community of dads navigating fatherhood together. I'm Bryant Young, fearless leader, co-host, girl dad, and your friendly local insurance agent based out of Springfield, Missouri. And now, before we get started on today's episode, please help me welcome... Jesus. He's a 6'3" sophomore shooting guard from small town Missouri. He wishes he was a first-team All-American, but instead, he's the coolest co-host with the most, a fantastic father of two, and the home loan expert. Folks, put your hands together and welcome the incomparable Mr. Derek Chaney. How are you, Derek? Holy shit.
Doing better than you, evidently.
I about choked on myself there. Good Lord.
That introduction a bit much?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just I hadn't wet my whistle in a while here. Let me have a little coffee.
Yeah, or, put that pack of cigarettes away. Jeez.
Dude.
Jeez,
I don't even smoke.
Anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's
Okay.
all gone. I don't know
As of 5 minutes ago, I don't. Okay, I'm fine. No, but I'm doing good, man. It's a good day for a good day.
It's a good day.
Got a solid choice for our hoppy coffee.
Yeah, we do. Something
today.
new.
So I'm pretty
A
excited.
new
about that.
blend.
That's right. New blend. Well said. Well said. And, I think we have a pretty great guest on today. I'd say we do. We don't know him too well.
Yeah, I've known Nathan for a couple of years. Just met him in passing doing a networking thing. Turns out after we got back together. But yeah.
Yeah, and I just met Nathan.
Yep.
What was that last week?
Yeah.
When we grabbed coffee. But no, we got referred to Nathan from one of our previous guests.
Yeah. Thanks, Drew.
Yeah, Drew Delicio. He said Nathan was quite the decent dad, and we should have him on. So
No pressure.
No,
we thought we'd ask you, and
Live
you
up to
obliged. So appreciate that, Nathan. So
I love it.
So yeah, tell us a little bit about you. Tell us what you do for a living.
Sure.
Give us your dad resume. Tell us how many kids you got, what are their ages, and which one's your favorite.
Yeah. So Nathan McCartney. My family owns Arctic Food Equipment. My dad started the company in 1994. So now I'm here. Like to say that I'm the SOB, the son of the boss.
Yeah, baby.
So
Baby.
I like
It's my favorite line. It's so good.
Yeah, I thought it's accurate. I've got a 5-year-old boy. He'll be 6 here before long, and then
Nice.
a 2-year-old little girl, and been married almost 14 years.
That's awesome.
Nice, awesome.
14 years.
I know.
God dang, man, that's great.
I'm not that old though. I don't know how this happened.
Yeah, I don't-
I'm married to like 14 or 15.
I blacked out. What happened?
I looked up and it's been almost 2 decades. Holy shit.
That's good.
Sorry, I just thought it was a pretty good giggle out of that. So we were joking about this ahead of time that you said you were on like a really hot streak with these, but turns out you got one anyway. Something we talk about every week is the tantrum of the day, but it sounded like you were kind of having a pretty good streak there until this afternoon. Tell us about that. What'd you deal with?
Yeah, I totally thought I was going to come in and be like, I really haven't had a tantrum.
My kids are great.
Awesome. They never do this, right?
Has to be their dad.
And really, my daughter doesn't usually throw tantrums. She's already learned how to manipulate. It's like she does the like looks down and like, it just knows how
wrapped
to get
around
you,
the pinky, Dad.
And, and then we went to put her in the bath today and just lost her mind, like just ever loving mind, screaming, hollering. And actually, my wife just texted me like 2 minutes ago. She's apparently still in bed crying. So I have no idea why. We have no idea what we've done.
Man.
But
There was no like I stubbed my toe or wouldn't let me have peanut butter.
Reading books, hanging out, having a good night. We're like, hey, it's bath time. Normal routine, normal time, everything. And just nope,
Not
having
tonight.
it.
No,
She
it's
decided
just
not
0
on
to
tonight.
100. Let's go. Yeah.
That's awesome.
She's probably hungry. I don't know. She refuses to eat, and then it's everybody else's fault that she's mad. So
Yeah.
Well, Elsie, funnily enough, mine also involves food. Else had been sick for a while and then was finally starting to eat again, but her gut still wasn't right. And so this isn't necessarily a tantrum so much as that like she wasn't feeling well, and so we were dealing with the repercussions of that. But then it was my tantrum is more probably a dad tantrum than it is a kid tantrum again this time, because Elsie is still in diapers and cleaning. It's the craziest diaper color I've ever seen in my entire life, Derek. So I'm trying to think of a comparative blue that I can drink. Like I'm trying to think of what color blue I could use to describe this. Like truly, we're talking like Rams blue and gold. Like it was actual Rams blue and also gold with a little bit of green in there. I have no idea. She was eating the same stuff that she normally does. It was not like I was giving her blue, like blue icing on a cookie or something. Right?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to.
Because that's the one time you've told me that story.
Yeah.
But so I had to clean blue shit out of my daughter's diaper, and it was the craziest thing I've ever experienced from a bowel movement standpoint.
Yeah.
So my tantrum's not so. No, I was pissed. I immediately took a picture and sent it to my wife and said, "Why am I changing this? This is your job. It's not. It's my job. But I would like you to do it.
Don't say
please."
that to her.
Yeah, no. Trust me, it's not. It's definitely.
It's all in trouble.
Yeah, exactly. That's actually how you become a decent dad and not a good one. Is you talk like that.
That's true. That's true.
What about you, DC? What are you dealing with?
Oh man, luckily mine doesn't involve food or poop.
That's bragger.
But yeah, no, man. I was kind of like Nathan. I was a little bit on a hot streak there, and felt like we was doing pretty good. But this week was the first week back to school, which Liam, not really in school, pre-K, and so he had to start back to that, and so we did the whole, you dress up nice for the first day of school, and he's all excited, excited to go to school. But Brody is not excited that Liam has to go to school.
Oh,
Yeah,
buddy wanted to hang out with brother.
It's funny, man. I posted these pictures.
Oh yeah, I saw him.
But Liam's
he was
like,
boo-facing bad.
Liam's like standing on our front steps, and he's just smiling, just cheesing for the camera. And you see Brody on the glass of our door behind him, just like, no, don't leave.
Bubby, come back.
And so Liam gets dropped off at school, and I guess luckily Allie dropped him off, so I kind of avoided most of this tantrum. And but I guess Brody was upset the whole drive back home, and she said even like after they got back home and it was just her and Brody, like they went for a walk, and he was just upset, ticked, sad, the whole rest of the day until his older brother got home, which is, it's sad, but at the same time too, it's like that's cool. That's
kind of sweet.
That bond, right?
Yeah.
That's almost the opposite. So my son started kindergarten this year too.
Yeah.
So Rhett took off and dropped him off, and all that was fine. And I mean, his sister was all but like pushing him, was like waving, like, "Bye, Bubby.
Bye. I'm gonna go hang out with my
Dad's
fam now."
She's like, "Oh man, I'm living this up. It's just me and Mom. They went and got coffee. Like they've done all this stuff now."
That's awesome. Yeah. Actually, that's a pretty good point. It's like, I don't have to worry about you anymore. See ya.
Right.
Yeah.
That's cool. Well, Nathan, the other thing we always ask everybody is give us a good dad hack.
Dad hack alert.
Or maybe some good dad advice that works for you or somebody shared with you.
Yeah. So we'll probably get into it a little bit, but I was in the military. Went to the academy, and if there's one thing that the military does, it hands you a regimen and beats a routine into your head. And so our family in general was a fairly regimented family, and then we brought kids in, and we had actually, it was I think my sister-in-law, my wife's sister, that has our nephews are a little bit older, and she was like, you get them on a schedule, sleep train them, like, do this.
Yes.
And, we're like, no, that's probably not real. That doesn't really work. Like, babies are good sleepers or not, right? So our first nephew slept well. Good kid. Second one slept well too, and we're like, oh, maybe there's something to this. So she kind of put that in our ear, and I was already kind of inclined that direction anyway. So since a young age, our kids have been fairly regimented. I mean, we do the routine is the same basically from 0600 until bedtime. It's like we eat, we do this, now you have free time. You eat, you do this. Now it's nap time. Then bath time looks the same. Everything's the same. Our times are the same. Let's see. Rhett was probably about 3. he was pretty talkative, and he at one point looked at us and goes, "Dad, I'm tired. I'm ready for my nap." You know, like look at the watch. I was like, "Yep,
Yeah,
sure
you're
enough,
right.
you're about right on time."
I
you know?
missed
And
the
was
time. Yeah.
This worked.
Right?
You know? I was like,
Yeah.
this worked. You know,
That's awesome.
And sometimes they'll still do that. I mean, about bedtime, they look around, they're kind of like, "All right, let's do the PJ thing. Let's get this going,
Right.
guys. Like it's bedtime."
Yeah.
And I
Wow.
think it's helped take some. I mean, yeah, we still have the tantrums. Like life's still life, but it has taken
Right.
some of that because the kids know
What to expect.
what's next, and
Sure.
what to expect. They know they're going to get fed. They know they're going to go down. So
That's cool.
Right.
yeah, I think it's worked well.
Especially the sleep, man. Yeah, that's the way my wife, she was very adamant about being very scheduled, regimented,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it there. And we talk about that all the time. It's like because both of our boys are really good sleepers
Yep.
for the most part. And we're like, is that because we were regimented or did we just get lucky?
Yeah.
And you know, like you said, had good sleepers. But no, I think little kids, I think it does help them because like what you just said there, you know, they know what to expect next.
Yeah.
It's not
There's
a
no reason
surprise.
for a
It's
tantrum.
not
They
a
know what's coming.
Right.
You know?
There are 5 kids represented at this table right now. 4 of them are good sleepers. One of them did not have a schedule
I was
and
gonna say,
is
what'd
also
your
the
kid
shitty
do?
sleeper.
There you
I
go.
can't
It
vouch
is
for eating.
proven.
It works for
proven.
sleeping, but I can't vouch for eating because my kids won't eat for anything.
Yeah.
I don't know. Understand it.
That's actually really funny. Did
Oh, man.
Nah, it's fine. Never mind. Because that was the one thing that was one of the bigger parental disagreements that Liv and I had. That I mean, not physically because obviously I'm not doing a whole hell of a lot working out anymore. But from it's 10 o'clock, it's time to go to bed.
Yeah.
It's 6 o'clock, it's time to wake up. Whatever. I'm
Right.
very much a creature of habit.
Yep.
And so when it came time to start talking about okay, are we going to do the sleep schedule thing? No.
Right.
Are we going to do the sleep training thing? 'Cause please God, can we do the sleep training thing? And I mean, Alice didn't sleep for 13 months.
Yeah,
so
that's hard.
Do you struggle with
Right.
that when you travel? Holding
It's
Have you
hard.
traveled with kids?
It's hard, and we did. I mean, and actually, when Rhett was born, we still lived in Mississippi, so both of our families are up here. So we were having to make a 5 or 6 hour drive for everything. So our kids travel fairly well because they've just kind of gotten used to that. We still got ties back there, so we travel a decent amount by car. But it is interesting. Like I'm the guy that was in the military. Like I'm usually pretty regimented, but. Man, there was nights when my wife was like, "Absolutely not! You are not going in there." Like we are holding the line on this. She's like, "I'm the one that's home."
It can be so hard
And so,
sometimes.
like there were times when I thought I was going to be the one that was hard on it. She's like, "Nope, I don't care if it's your daughter. You let her cry. Like I'm the mom. I'm dealing with the nap tomorrow. Like it's mine." And so we were on the same page mostly.
Good.
On that, I think, which helped. And it's tough because those early years, especially from birth to about 18 months, we had to say no to a lot of things. And that's tough, and it really kind of sucks because sometimes our the grandparents are like, "Well, why can't?" Or like, because nap is sacred.
Because I said
We're
so,
not touching
and
it.
I'm the parent, and we're getting the hell out of
Like,
here.
well, it won't hurt for like just this once. Like, yeah, it'll wreck it for 3 or 4 or 5
Right.
days.
Yeah.
You're
It's
not
gonna-
to deal with it.
Yeah, you're
Exactly.
screwing up
I
my
have to
streak,
deal
Mom.
with it,
You're
not
screwing
you.
up my streak.
Yeah, but it has gotten easier because now they again kind of know what to expect, and
Yeah.
they sleep in the car a little better and that kind of stuff. So,
Nice. That's good. Well, and we have since gone towards a more serious schedule. And hey, go figure. Everything's a lot easier.
Shut
so,
the front door.
Go
Yeah,
figure.
right.
It's amazing how that works.
Man,
Yeah.
it is funny that we were talking about sleep and how my boys are a good sleeper and whatnot. But I think I mentioned last episode that Liam, since we got back from vacation, he was used to sleeping with us, and now he has to sleep back in his bed, and he's not really a big fan of it. So he's getting up several times. And so, my dad hack / dad advice is, really clicked for me this week with him was just, be patient and stay calm with them whenever they are, getting a little upset, getting a little frustrated because they really, really feed off whatever energy you're putting off. I feel
that's
like
a good one.
Mhm.
That's a good one.
Great example. So I can't remember. Allie had to go to the store or something the other night, so it was just me and the boys, and I already put Brody down, and I put Liam down. And again, his normal routine now since we got back from vacation, he'd get up, and so I put him back down, and I'm tired at this point too. So the first couple times I put him down, and I'm calm with him, but then time 3, time 4 comes around, I'm getting a little frustrated.
Listen here, dude.
And so I get after him a little bit, and then sure enough, he gets fired up.
Yep.
You know, and well, now it's super hard to get him to go to sleep and lay down because he's fired up. And so then I kind of step back for a moment. I'm like, okay, hold on, let's try to let's try a different approach here, right? So I
have to learn this lesson like weekly,
right?
Yeah,
you do. And so I stay calm. You know, I talk softly to him so he calms down, and then he gets out of bed a couple more times. But I stayed calm with him and just talked quietly to him, and then sure enough, right after that, you know, he fell back asleep. So I think it's just taking a step back whenever you're getting really frustrated. It's like, hey, you know, just stay calm and be patient with them. Like, it'll be okay.
You know, those breathing treatments we talk, or those breathing exercises that we talk about with our kids? Nope, that's for us, dude. I'm telling you.
And it's the dad too. Like, I mean, my wife gets upset, but not like I go to 100, like, super quick.
Same.
Like I'm ready to throw
and I
you
never
across the
thought
room.
I'd be that way either.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, they know how to push your buttons.
There are, particularly during the bedtime routine, like, I get frustrated at the length of time that it takes. Like, like we're talking almost an hour to get, like, and it's there are times where it's like, I don't know, whatever it is, I'm wiped from the day, or I got up early, or I know I've got to be up early the next day. Whatever it is, I'm just like trying to get this over with, speed this up, and I get in a hurry, and then I get chased, and then I get frustrated, and then I'm all of a sudden like, would you just relax? And I catch myself like, what good is that gonna do?
Right, for real.
What good does that attitude do anybody, other than just make you more pissed off?
Right.
So. Okay, let's go.
I also find it's amazing that you can't trim it. Like, it's an hour. I don't know how to make it shorter. I've tried everything. It's an hour. This is like,
just
it's
it
not
is what
15
it is.
minutes. It's an hour.
Yeah, and it kills me. That's my type A personality. I'm like, okay, well, you should be asleep in 30 minutes, basically, and it never works that way. And so then I start to get frustrated, but then I don't know.
It is what it is.
Like you said, at least an hour. Just plan on an hour.
Just
it might
expect
take
that to be the
longer,
case.
But,
Sometimes we get lucky. Like, sweet, it's
right,
it's
for
only 15
real.
minutes.
Yeah, way to go, team.
For real.
Take that win.
Well,
do you have a good one?
I had one. I actually saw him today, and it's what made me think of it. We have a guy here in town. His name's Hector Cruz.
Yeah.
Hector works at Evangel. And, hey, Hector, I'm going to send this to you so you can see it. Hector has done a thing that, you know, this podcast is kind of Derek and I's way of documenting it. We love the opportunity to speak to other dads, but then it's also kind of our little, like, time capsule. In the future, we'll get to use this as like a look at these idiots in their 30s when they thought life was tough and they had 1, 2, and 3-year-olds.
My kids getting out of bed.
Oh man, what a terrible problem.
Not I had daughter not excited about it.
I just had to send her out to drive away. But I really liked Hector documents his family life in a different way. Hector actually writes a blog. Physically writes a blog, and it's called Daddy Lessons Blog, and it's on daddylessonsblog.com. And
that guy on the podcast.
Trust me, he's on my list too. But I really liked his idea. Part of it is just, you know, talking about what they're doing sometimes. I don't know how often he writes in it, but it's just every once in a while.
Yeah.
But then the other thing that I thought was cool is that his family has a shared goal or milestone thing that they all seem to be really excited about. They want to go to all 50 states. And it's all the entire family. I think he's got 3 children, maybe. I think it's 3. All of the kids with them, all 5 of them together in all 50 states, and they take a picture together in all 50 states.
Oh, that's cool.
And he documents what they were doing and why they were there, and like it's like a whole thing. And again, it's kind of like that time capsule or that like something that memorializes that. I just really liked that.
Yeah.
You know, this is our version
that's
of
a
it.
fun idea.
This is our version of it, but that's his version of it. I just thought that was kind of cool. And so, thanks, Hector. I'm stealing your stuff.
That's cool. I actually write letters to my kids.
Good for you. I like that.
I don't put them out on public, and I haven't figured out when or how to give them to them. But I've got a whole shared drive on my computer of just randomly, sit down and write something.
You want to know what I do?
Yeah.
Make them an email address. And then send them an emails. That's what I do. I send Elsie emails. Yeah, Elsie has an email, and I send her emails.
That's an awesome idea. I'm gonna do that because I've got like all this stuff.
Don't lose the password.
What am I gonna do?
Because I did that once. I had to resend all the emails.
Elsie has 2 emails.
Elsie has 2 emails. The first one's gone. I can't find it.
That one's her spam folder.
Yeah, exactly. It truly is. But yeah, dude, I'm telling you, send an email.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, we found that online somewhere, and we both do that now.
Yeah.
So I know you work with family, and I know you came back to the Ozarks to work with your dad in the business that you now own.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about working with Dad? Because I feel like this is something you and I can commiserate over. Because we joked about this ahead of time, but it's like it's either It's a 0 or 100 thing.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
either you can work with family or you definitely can't.
Right.
And so talk a little bit about your experience working with your father.
Yeah, so it's been good. I think I fall into the category of I can work with my dad. I had a great dad. I had a great growing up. And like I said, he started the business in '94. So I remember watching him grow the company. It was just him in a truck, and he would drive down Sunshine and pass out business cards. And if no one put him to work, he'd make rights until he got on Glintstone, and then he'd just that's how he grew
Keep
the company.
going.
He just
Sure.
kept working.
That's cool.
And so I got to see him go from that to where we are today. And so coming back here has been really special. I think it's a legacy that I feel attached to, and so I hope to be able to pass that to my kids. Hopefully, I'll have that kind of relationship.
Yeah.
But it's been good because Dad and we've always gotten along well. We think a lot similarly. It was always expected. I didn't grow up on a farm. My dad did, and so it was like I grew up on a farm. We just didn't farm. So
Right.
in the
Right.
Oh,
summertime,
that's a cool.
It's a different
That's a
kind
cool
of
way to look
business,
at it.
yeah.
Yeah.
in fact, so the story I like to tell at the company when I came back. So I've been working there since high school. I took a break to go to the military. I actually got a job as a lifeguard. I was going to be at the Nixon pool. I was excited. I came home. I was like, Dad, I got a job. I'm going to be a lifeguard. He's like, that's not a job. You're just going to look at girls all summer. And I'm like, well, yeah.
I'm a teenager. What do you expect me to do?
He said, no, you're.
And I'm gonna get paid. What are you gonna do?
He's like, well, I paid you last summer, and you're working for me. And I was like, but I already got this job. And he said, well, what are they paying you? I'll pay you more. And so I had to quit. And so I've the only jobs I've ever had are either businesses I've started or been a part of or been in the military. So
that's really cool.
I was
Interesting.
I was about 13 or 14. I started cleaning ice machines and air conditioners and hauling tools up a ladder and just going on jobs with Dad. So I've been around it a long time, and that was the expectation. Like you just worked. So I think Dad kind of instilled that young. So he knew. So I got out of the Air Force and I didn't want to go work for a big corporation. In fact, my commander told me when I put in my paperwork to separate, I was like, hey sir, I want to get out. And he said, what are you going to do? I said, well, I'm going to start a business. I saw my dad do it. My grandpa was a farmer. Like, I'm going to start my own business. And he's like, well, that's good, because if you were going to go work at FedEx or AutoZone, because I actually got an MBA at Ole Miss, and that's where all those guys go. They go to AutoZone or FedEx or whatever. So if that's what you were going to do, I was going to talk you out of it, because the Air Force is better. It's a better corporation to work for than FedEx.
For sure.
He's like, if you're going to go do your own thing, then that's awesome. So I did that for a while, and then I went back. Dad was getting older. He's like, when are you coming home? Like, your wife is from here. My grandson was born.
Get your ass back here.
I'm 60. Like, when are you coming home? And at first we were like, no, we really like. I mean, we were plugged in. We had a good community we built in Mississippi, and had some rental houses. The business was growing, and we're like, no, I think we're good. When we came home for one Christmas, we never had to hold our son. Like, the grandmas just passed him around, and on the way home, my wife and I looked at each other and we were like,
That was nice.
It's a lot easier with help.
Yeah, we probably ought to talk this over a little more. And so, Dad kind of kept making offers, and we moved home. But I do think it was important that I didn't go straight there from high school. I do think that it would have been harder to go work with my dad if I'd gone straight from high school and never had other experience.
Sure.
Because I didn't want to be like the oligarch that got it because I was a kid's son.
Right. Right.
And so I had to build my own business.
Dude,
I was
preach.
growing it, and I did it for a couple of years. I knew I could do it, proved it to myself. And then when I came back, I was, I guess I'd been about 32, 31. I deployed. I'd led troops in combat. I'd managed big budgets. I'd started a business. I'd, worked like my dad did for 18 hours a day trying to grow a business. I'd work on a moving truck all day, then write estimates and invoice all night, and then do it all over again until I could hire help. And so when I came back and started working, I think the company has very good loyalty. So our employees have been around. There's a handful of guys that remember me as a kid.
Oh, wow.
Working on the
That's
roof
cool.
with me, And then some of them that didn't know me, at least when I could talk, I was like, look, I've got experience. I'm not just here because I'm Mark's son.
Right. Right.
In fact, one of the guys that's still with us, talking about when I first started, the very first day I was cleaning air conditioners on the roof. I was actually on Barnes and Noble right there on Glintstone.
Yeah.
And Dad takes me up on the roof with the other guy, and he looks at me and goes, Rick, I know he's my son, but if I come back here and catch him not working, I'm taking it out on you.
I love that.
Rick worked me.
Yeah.
I love that.
And Rick said, all right, mofo, we're
He
going to
said,
work.
I got this. He's like, all right, here's how you do it. And I'm going downstairs. I'm going to check the electrical. This better be clean when I come back, and
That's awesome.
It's been good. It's been neat to see my dad on this side too.
Yeah.
I always respected him as my dad. Loved him from that side. But now seeing how he thinks in business and understanding how the struggles, the decisions, the responsibility, the weight he bears, it's just elevated my respect and love for him in a way that I think is different because we're business partners now too, not just
Right.
father and son. And it's been good, and I'm thankful for that. I really am. I wouldn't trade anything, really. I wouldn't change it.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's I've talked about that before on the show, that my mother was actually the one that recognized that I needed to get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
And also then have a job that wasn't with my dad before I went to work for my dad. Because that was the same deal. I mean, I was working in the insurance business before I went to work for Dad. I was on my way to, I was working with State Farm, trying to get to the point where I could open a Bryant Young State Farm before. Because I asked my parents for a job out of college, and my dad was like, actually, my mom was like, no, you need to go work somewhere else. Nope, sorry, you can't have a job. Thanks, Mom. Love you too. It's really great. Love you. Do you find that you'll say things? And I'm coming. I'm definitely projecting right now. Do you find that you'll say things to your dad that you wouldn't say to a normal employer, and vice versa? Because that's definitely how it is with me.
Yeah, probably, and I think we can talk on a little more relatable level.
Sure.
Because there's a lot longer,
more familiar
of trust.
Yeah.
And I told Dad when we came, I said, Dad, I burned the bridges. I mean, I sold my business in Mississippi. Like, there's no going back. I not quitting. Like, you can't.
I burned the bridges.
I've burned the bridges. I'm here. You know, and so.
I crossed the Rubicon.
Yeah.
There's no going back.
Yeah, I think Dad knows that. Like, my interest is in growing the company. Every decision, even when I make a mistake and I'm wrong, it's always trying to improve the company. I'm not taking it for granted. I know I'm the boss's son, but I want to grow it. I want to work there for 30 more years.
Sure.
So,
well, and also I feel like I have added skin in the game, because you're also worried about protecting the legacy. You know what I mean? Like, you just said it, you do have that little bit of a chip on your shoulder where it's like, well, you're the owner's son, so like you're not going to be any good at this. And so for me and a few of my peers, one of the guys who used to be was on the show earlier, Andy Peebles, is the same way. Peebles works with his family, works with his dad.
Right.
And Andy he and I both talk about this a lot, where it's like you have a little bit of an extra chip on your shoulder, where you're going to work a little harder because you want to show people, no, I'm here for a reason. I'm not just here because my daddy owns the restaurant or whatever.
My family name on the door.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I would, if I do my job right, at least the way I hope, one of my kids will be here, in 30 more years, and we could be a third generation, business. And the thing I always joke about, it's always the grandson that screws it up. It's like the dad built it.
I'm the grandson.
The son worked really hard. I don't want to be the son that screws it up, but I don't want my kids to either.
Sure.
If they want that, I don't want to. I want to leave them something that will grow. Because that was really, that was also a deciding factor. I was like you. I was trying to grow my own thing. I wanted to do this, and I looked around. I'm like, man, my dad's been doing this for 25 years. I could work for 25 years to get where he is now, or I could try and grow what he's built on that foundation and see where it goes from there. And
his foundation's taller than my foundation over here, so I can get way further into the construction project over there.
So yeah, absolutely. But I try and get there as early as anybody else. Our general manager's a dairy farmer. I've decided I'm never going to beat him in.
You won't. He's a dairy farmer's kid.
He's like, I only work part-time. I work 40 hours a week now, so I'm not going to beat him in, but I get there early. I try and stay late. And just I'm the yes guy. If it needs to be done, I do it. So
totally get it.
I do the dishes. I answer the phones. So
that was one line that I loved. You said whenever we grabbed coffee the other day is you got to know your dad even better. Like, you knew him growing up as dad. And you started working with him, and you know him as businessman. Dad. And so you got to see a whole different side of your dad that you didn't really know before.
Yeah, absolutely. That's been cool.
Yeah,
been cool.
That has to be so neat.
The other thing that's been neat about moving home that I didn't anticipate is get to see him be grandpa a lot more often.
Yeah,
because before it was just it was just weekends. We came home for Thanksgiving for a holiday or whatever. Now, my kids see their grandparents on both sides, because my wife's a Kickapoo grad, like she's from here, which is why really like. Yeah, that's true. I'll give you that.
Sorry.
Eagles, Falcons, close enough.
Yeah, 6-1.
Well, Air Force is Falcons too, so
there you go.
Way better. But it's just been good to see him be a grandpa. It's kind of neat to see that stage of life. Because it was nuts. I was like, why are we not coming home? We've got 4 grandparents, that our parents are still together. Like, this is crazy. Like,
we got to go.
We got to go home. Yeah. And it's been so much better for our kids. They know their grandparents in a way that they never would have. So it's fun. The last thing I'll probably say about talking about our family, working as a family, we had to kind of adjust. As fun as it is to work together, sometimes Dad and I get into a tangent when we'll be. Last Sunday we were at the lake, hanging out, boating, and all that. with my parents, and we start talking about employees and who's running what calls, and where the refrigerant is stored in the warehouse, and mom on multiple occasions and quite frequently is like, stop talking about work. It's leave it at the shop. We're on family time, and it's hard.
That has to be hard.
Turning it off.
Yeah. We've gotten better, and I try and only email like business stuff. Like we've got separate emails that I like.
Nice. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Personal and all that. Like it's try to find some ways to separate. But I don't know. We're guys. It's so much of our identity, and especially my dad. I mean, he's been there. He's done this job for 40 years. It's who he is.
Right. So, I came to this realization a couple of years ago, having worked for my dad. The agency is his firstborn.
Yeah, I can see that.
It is his oldest child. I'm 35. The agency's 42. The agency is his firstborn, and so to some extent there is no turning it off.
Right.
Yeah. There's no turning the brain off, and then Mom hasn't quite gotten in the way with us, but it is a situation where he and I have had that conversation. It's like, okay, if you and I have a problem at the office, one, we got to separate ourselves from the team.
Right.
Because he and I get way louder and way more 4-letter wordy when we disagree on things. Because you said it earlier. Dad and I generally agree on the direction we should be traveling and the
yes. Yeah.
We definitely agree on the goal.
Right.
Sometimes we're gonna take different routes though.
Yep. That's
and so we disagree on how we're gonna get there, but we agree on where we're gonna go.
Right, yeah.
And so sometimes our arguments will be about how we're getting to the destination. And there was one instance where one of the gals in our office who has been with us for 28 years. I'm 35. I've known this woman kind of like what you're talking about my whole life.
Yeah. Did she come to your wedding?
Absolutely.
I had some of those too.
Yeah. She was there, and she basically grabbed both of us by our ears and said, "All right, dummies, y'all got to either close the door or leave the office if you're going to have these conversations because you're starting to yell at each other and everybody out here is feeling weird." It's like, touche. Okay, fair enough. All right, Dad, we got to leave the office now. Close the door.
Right. That's funny.
It's true.
Yeah. That's got to be tough to turn off. I mean, when you're around them all day during work and then after hours,
and sometimes it's
weekends,
like we're just talking about it because it is a
what else are you
huge
going to talk
component
about,
of our
right?
lives,
Yeah.
And I've taken that identity on as well. So I don't know. I think it's a guy thing.
It's common
the
ground,
first thing people ask you is, well, what do you do? Like, that's what you ask another guy. What do you do? And that defines us in a lot of ways.
Yep.
So,
well, Nathan, one thing that you put on your questionnaire here, and then we started to talk about just a little bit before we started recording was, and I'm excited to hear you talk more about this. Was you were like, I want to get this right. My goal is to raise a man and raise a princess.
Yeah.
So I want to, expand a little bit more on that. Talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah. So actually, I had a guy tell me that before I even had kids, and it just kind of stuck out in my mind. So he had a firstborn son, just like I do, and then he was expecting a little girl, and he said, "I'm really excited about raising a princess." He said, "I've enjoyed making a man." He's like, I've got this son that I'm molding into being a man, and I get to set that standard and be that example." And he said, "Now I've got this little girl that I want to set an example for of what to look for in a man, and then raise her as a princess so that she looks for a good man." And he's like, it's two of the same things, and I get to do both sides, and it's just a lot of fun. And I mean, it's weird because I didn't even have kids at the time. My wife may have been pregnant with Rhett, but I don't even think she was. It just kind of stuck in my mind, and then here we are, however long later, and I've got a little boy and a little girl, and
the exact same thing you were talking about.
Yeah, it's just kind of neat. It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's funny that you say that because I think about it too. Obviously, I don't have a daughter yet, but I have two little men.
Yeah, right. I caught that too.
No, my wife is pushing me for a third, and she's telling
I bet you just hate the practice, don't you?
And she's telling me, she's like, it's gonna be a girl,
or I'm cutting off your schwanz.
I absolutely love having a little boy. Like I love my son, but dude, having a girl
that's what everybody says.
It's pretty fun. It's pretty fun.
I mean, so she wasn't throwing a fit tonight. At first, right? So we were getting ready for dinner. She went into the corner, sat down, and I was like, "What's wrong, baby?" Yeah. I go over there and snuggle her. She just wanted me to hold her. She just wanted my attention, and hey, my son's never done that. And she just crawls in your lap and just twirls her hair and leans back, and it's just girls are Girls are a lot of fun.
Yeah, I don't know what that's like.
Yeah.
I know.
I love hitting my son in the head with a dodgeball. And like, we play football. I mean, I have
Nerf
a lot of
guns?
fun with him too. Nerf gun. We're just at the age where he can cock it himself, which has changed the game. You know, because he used to be like, "All right, Dad, here, let me cock it. I'm
Cock it. Okay, Dad, run.
No, run. Yeah. But now we can actually have war. That's a lot of fun.
They got the battery powered ones. Where you
we need
to
to
awesome.
upgrade.
But no, that's one thing that is kind of fun. You know, having two boys is like, you know, having to raise them and teach them, you know, how to treat a lady, how do you treat mom, right? And you catch yourself sometimes, you know, not being a good example, and so then you have to be like, oh wait, nope, they're watching.
I got two little
that's not
dudes
good.
watching me.
Right?
Yeah.
Because it's like, you know, sometimes, you know, they'll talk back to mom, and sometimes it's in a joking way, right? And so it's like, that's okay. But then other times they take a different tone on it, and you're like, hold up, like, that's not how you talk to mom. You know, you don't talk back to her. So that's fun. Just to try again, like you were saying, try to mold them into, you know, a man.
Sure.
And then another big thing that we do with our little guys is, you know, we do affirmations every night.
Oh, that's cool.
And a big one that we always hit on every night. You know, we have 4 of them, but one of them is, you know, I'll be kind to mommy so that I can be a good man.
I like that.
Yeah, that's solid.
And so, you know, hopefully that's, you know, imprinting something on their little brains.
Sure.
To, you know.
Yeah, I actually, so I give my kids a blessing every night.
Okay.
But it's different, right? So for my son, it's that he'll be a mighty man who slays dragons and kills giants and flees sin, right? So like that's what I want him as a man. I want him to be confident enough to fight bad
That's
guys.
cool.
You
Yeah.
know,
Like
and
that.
be a mighty warrior in the Bible is a mighty man is a warrior. It's another name for it, right? So I want her to be a warrior. But for my daughter, I want her to be beautiful and wise. You know, because that's what a woman's called to be, is beautiful and wise, and you know, and raise up her children that way. So I have different goals for both of them, and I want them to seek and find the right balance. You know, I want her to see how. Expect a man that treats me hopefully like I do her mom.
Yeah.
Right.
Most of the time, I hope.
Yeah, I get that. Sure, I get that. We're not all perfect. I
we're
understand
learning
how that
too.
And I want my
It's
son
the
to do
Decent
it.
Dads
That's right,
podcast.
decent, that's right,
Remember,
that's right.
we're just decent.
It's nice. I'm like, well, screwed that one up. You know,
right,
but it's kind of the same thing. I'm trying to set that. This is the foundation. Like, this is what a man does.
Sure.
You know, this is what a woman does. These are what you should expect, and this is how you should behave. So, and having a sister helps too, because we have conversations. Because my son's all about like, I'm going to fight the bad guys for mom. I'm like, you're 5, man. Like, I'll handle it. Like, I got the gun.
I got this,
like,
dog.
Like,
That's a cool
like I'll handle it. But he's
perspective.
like, I'm going to fight the bad guys for mom. I'll protect sissy. You know, like, and I don't want to. I don't want to tune that down.
Discourage.
Sure.
Yeah.
But you know, at the same time, I'm like, dude, you're 5. Like, you go hide in the bedroom too. Let me go down.
Yeah. I got this. I got
That
this.
guy's
I
Yeah.
love the confidence,
me.
but
Like, we're gonna get you some karate practice first, you know.
Well, it's so true though too. Like you talk about setting a good example. How much of your parenting traits can you attribute to your parents?
Yeah.
And so you're almost, you know, when I first read yours, it's handwritten. Your notes are handwritten.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
when I first read it, I thought it read raise a mom and a princess.
Oh,
and so
yeah.
in the back of my head, I'm going, well, that's actually kind of interesting because, you know, we're trying to teach her how to parent so that she can raise good kids.
Yeah.
So I obviously misread it.
That is my goal, though.
But that was kind of my idea, is that like you're you know, I can say that a lot of my parenting style comes from my parents.
Yeah, for sure.
Good, bad, or indifferent. You know, I
Yeah.
learned from my parents' mistakes and am
And making
reaping
our
the
own.
yeah,
Making
exactly.
our
Yeah.
own.
And reaping the benefits of their experience. And
Yeah.
so like when I first misread that, and then you said, man, I was like, oh, yeah, that makes more sense. But also, it kind of makes sense too, that like we're just
does.
trying to, you know, raise a kid that's gonna be a good person, and because we're doing the affirmation thing too,
Yeah.
and it's kind of a hybrid of what you're talking about. It's I am strong, I am smart, I am brave, I am kind, I am
Right.
beautiful.
Yeah.
I love
'cause
you.
It's all you want those, like you want strength and beauty, you know, and you want to be brave, but you also need to be meek, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
need
yeah.
to- You need to defend the weak, not just because you're strong.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that
Yeah,
you
but
use it in a bad way.
those
Great quality,
those
yeah.
were my 5. Was
love
smart,
that, yeah.
kind, strong, brave, and beautiful. Those were my
Yeah,
5.
I love it.
And I always put beautiful last because I don't want her to feel like that's her only like
Right.
like
Yeah.
that's her main thing. I mean, I would love for her to be
yeah.
beautiful, but I don't want that to be her identity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
That's why
we
I
all
was
went to
saying beautiful and
school with
wise.
like
That
we all
brings
went to
up
school with
such
those
a
like
good point.
hot girls that was
Yeah.
what they had going for them, and it's like I don't want that to be your entire thing. I want you to be that,
Be-
but
yeah.
also
Right.
I want you to be smart and strong and all these other really good things too.
Yeah.
That's why I tell my daughter to be beautiful and wise, because I want to.
Yeah, there you go. Wise is good. I like
to be
wise.
both, you know, like not just your beauty. You're more than just your looks.
Right. Right.
I don't know if y'all follow him, but Nick Freitas is a guy on. He's on Insta and TikTok and stuff. He's I don't know somebody.
Nick Freitas. Okay,
some
you
guy
look
in
that up.
It's like
Virginia.
that name sounds
He
familiar.
was a Green Beret, right? So he has a daughter, and he tells a story. He's like, my daughter was, my wife was pregnant with a daughter. I found the biggest man sled I could find.
Yes, I told this
Have you seen
story
that?
on
And
the show.
I asked him
I
how
literally
it-
told this
and he's-
story on the show.
Yeah, basically like spoil your daughter so much that she won't put up with some garbage dude.
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
That's been my goal. Like ever since I found out I was having a girl, I was like, I'm just gonna treat her so good that like whenever this, I think the kids are saying dusty. these
Yeah,
days.
yeah, exactly.
When your dusty brother comes along, like,
Well, that's like literally a meme now, where it's like a dad showing his daughter him doing like a giant FU deadlift or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
And it's, showing my daughter what a real man looks like when he lifts, so she's not impressed with your little 135-pound bench press or something like that.
Yeah, I'm all for it. I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing.
Nathan's like, let me go record my deadlift.
I mean, I'm not over 700.
We're getting close.
135.
Yeah, but I'm going. What were you starting to say? I cut you off. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good. Because that was kind of the way that I read that line that you put there on the questionnaire. Because we know a couple that they had a daughter. They thought that was going to be the only child they had, and so they did. They treated her like a princess. They called her princess. Like spoiled the crap out of her. Well, then 4 years later, they have a surprise.
Yeah.
Another daughter, and it's funny. Seeing those two girls,
The
because
paradigm shift.
the older one, she still has that like mentality, that
Yeah.
personality,
Yeah.
right? Where hey, I'm the princess, I'm spoiled, and
Right. You're taken away from me.
right. I get my way when I say, and the other one's like, whatever, I'm along for the ride type
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah.
And so I was curious.
I was trying to
That's
find
cool.
a better word too, because I was like, that's not. I didn't want that.
Right.
I get what you're
Right.
saying.
Right.
Yeah, I
just
get
want her
that.
to
I
know
get that
she's
though.
special.
Yeah,
Right,
absolutely.
right. And absolutely, and she should be.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a tough balance sometimes.
I remembered the line from that guy you were talking about. It's tell your daughter you love them so that they can know what it sounds like when somebody means it, so that
yes,
they
that's
don't
right.
believe it when somebody who looks like me and acts like me tells them that and they're lying.
That's right. That's it. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
That's
the
right.
man slut
Yeah,
like me
that's
who just
right.
tells somebody that and
Yeah.
I'm full of shit. Tell them that you love them, and then they'll know what it sounds like when
Yeah.
somebody means it.
Yeah. And
I
I
like
think
that.
I think it's
Yeah.
important for. I mean,
And it's not as
true and good
eloquent as he
dads,
said
like,
it, but
I think it's important for our sons to know that too.
Mhm.
Like, I think we need to
Absolutely.
think in terms of. I don't remember where I heard it, but it's not just you're not just trying to raise a kid. You're trying to raise an adult.
Mhm.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
what do you want your son to look like? What do you want your
Groundwork,
daughter to
baby.
look like? And so how do we do that? And I think thinking and talking in those terms. Yeah, our kids are young,
Right.
but how do we want them to be kind. We want them to be brave. We want them to
Mhm.
be strong. So start that now,
Right.
And train them up. So
Yeah.
well, it's kind of like saying you can't drink all day if you don't start in the morning. So
right.
your kids, you got to start teaching them early.
Yeah.
Because
I
you
was
can't
like, where
spend your
going
whole
with
life. Because you can't spend your whole life teaching your kids how to be a good kid if you don't start
this?
early.
No. Yeah. No.
Bad analogy. Sorry.
Yeah, I love that you brought that up. Say it to your sons too, because that's how
Mhm.
I am. I try to say that to my boys so much. And I feel like it probably goes in one ear and out the other.
Yeah.
But
But you keep saying it.
you do,
And they'll remember it.
and they do, and it's funny now. Liam, he's very very verbal now, and he's talking really well, and you can just tell by the way we talk to him.
yeah.
He's spitting that back to us basically.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool.
And so you're like, hey, that is actually working. What I'm
Right.
trying to do.
Yeah.
Like,
I saw
and you
a post
win.
on,
Yes.
I saw a post about that the other day, and they were talking about parenting advice. So they were talking about daughters, but they said if she's not going to remember the 2-year-old tea party, she probably won't remember the 5-year-old tea party. But at 14, she's going to remember that you were there at the playing Barbies at 9,
Right.
And then you took her to the movie at 12, and so basically just keep doing it because they're going to remember the specifics at this age, but they're going to know you've been there
Right.
forever from the beginning that they can remember. And
Sounds like
that's
our
powerful.
Instagram feeds are very similar. Because
Yeah.
I think I saw that exact same
Yeah.
video too.
It's like, oh, that's a good point. 'Cause I really don't care about Barbie right now.
Just be
But I'm
there.
just going to be
be
interested in the things she's interested in.
Yeah, we do a lot of animal sounds. Unicorns are big. Unicorns are huge. I don't
Yeah?
I don't understand it. I grew up with a brother. I have no sisters. Like, I've got no concept of what it's like to live in
Dude.
a girl house. And it's changed my life.
I'm so with you. I'm so with you. That's where I am. I've got a brother, and so when we learned I was having a girl, it's like, oh, I got to figure out what that means.
How's
I
this work?
don't even know what you're supposed to do at this point. Tell you what, I figured out how to play with baby dolls pretty well.
Yeah.
What about sports? Have you guys gotten into any of that? Your kids are still a little young, but
Rhett's
you're getting
5.
close.
Yeah, so he started soccer. We did soccer in the fall, and this will be our third season, I guess, of soccer.
Dang. At 5?
Well, we did like the Happy Feet thing.
Oh yeah.
Kind of
Okay. Yeah.
Kind of like go play.
He just got done with Happy
It was
Feet.
fun. It was fun. But he kind of took to that, so we started. He just he picked up sports pretty quick.
Good.
Like from a young age, he just was throwing balls.
Fun.
I mean, I'm not saying he's world class, but he just is always. He didn't play with a lot of trucks. Got into dinosaurs for a little bit, but never, trucks, tractors, planes, none of that. He just picked up baseballs and threw them and that kind of stuff. So we kind of put him into sports early, but we really want to hold that with an open hand. Like, we're not trying to push him. I just want him to have fun. And if he wants to play a sport, we do it, and we try it for a season. And if he doesn't like it, we don't do it again. So we've done t-ball and gymnastics, and he's really taken to tennis. Like, he likes a ball.
Really?
If he can swing like a bat or a racket at a ball, he's good at it. Like, he
Cool.
liked t-ball, he liked tennis.
He's got the hand-eye.
He's
Okay.
decent at golf. Like, I'm like, man, you're gonna kill it when you're 40.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can play tennis and golf.
Pickleball, dude.
You're gonna kill it, man.
Introduce some pickleball.
Get into those old man sports. Let's go.
Soccer ain't gonna be around when you're 40, but golf, man, if you're good at golf, you're gonna
Right.
win some. You're gonna win some
real.
money.
Oh, I've got several friends that talked about, like, my dad's age guys that talked about, like, how important it is to have a lifelong hobby.
Yeah.
Whether it's a sport or not, it's something that you can do into your 70s.
Yeah,
Right.
and I didn't have that. I don't have that. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to give him.
Same.
I'll
Yeah.
give when Olivia Grace gets a little older. Hopefully she'll be into golf or tennis too or something. But Rhett's taken to it, and so it's been fun.
Good.
It's been fun. We're a sporting family. Like we started talking about sports, football and stuff a little bit before, and coming from Ole Miss, like our kids have been to baseball and basketball and football and stuff down there. So we like to go watch that and do that kind of stuff. So it was kind of natural, I think, that we fell into sports. But man, American sports these days just wreck people's lives. Like, I'm just not ready for the
so
rat
true.
race yet,
Right.
you
Yeah,
know? So I'm trying to find that balance.
The crazy. I mean, also, like, being an entrepreneur, like,
Yeah.
there's not a lot of. I mean, yes, you have the flexibility because you will own the business, but also, doing
don't have a lot
5
of
nights
time.
a
You
week
also don't
worth
have
of
the
travel
flexibility.
ball. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I could leave, but also I can't leave.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Because I don't want to be the guy that's like, oh, I'm never here.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
I'm
Right.
Absent owner.
the kid's
Yeah,
son.
right. Yeah, exactly.
You
You don't want to deal with that.
Yeah, I don't know, man. We're dealing with it, and Rhett's good. Like, I enjoy watching him play, but we're gonna kind of take that as it comes. I think.
Sure.
'Cause who knows?
Well, Jeff Houghton talked about it. There's a need on the show. He talked about it. There's a need
Yep.
for a middle level
Yes.
sport.
Yeah. Absolutely.
A middle level of involvement of sport, I guess you could say. Like,
Skill level,
what did
whatever.
he call it? He had a name for it. I don't remember what it was,
I don't know.
but it was like it's not
It's in between rec league and
exactly. It's in between like
Yeah.
the Y League, Rec League,
and travel every
and then
other night.
exactly,
Right?
and then
Yeah.
driving to Texas 6 times a month to go
Yeah.
play basketball or whatever.
Right.
Yeah,
Like,
I
there's
would
gotta
love
be
that.
a
I would
happy
play in that.
medium.
I would play in that because I want Rhett to lose. Like, I want him to learn how to win, lose, play as a team,
For
get
sure.
coached.
Yeah.
Not just by me. Like, be yelled at by a coach and grabbed by his jersey until get your
Right.
head in the game.
Figure it
Like,
out,
All
yeah.
those things he needs, but I also don't want to drive to Texas 6 times a month.
right.
Yeah,
For real.
preach.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'm afraid my daughter won't have to worry about that because neither of her parents are very athletic. Sorry, babe.
hey, she might have got the recessive gene. You
Yeah,
never know.
Rhett's significantly more athletic, I think, than Lee and I were. He he picked it up well. He just moves naturally. It's
That's
kind
awesome.
of weird.
That's cool.
Your boys are going to be stud athletes, and I cannot wait to watch.
We'll see. I don't know.
Oh my! Are
wife-
you kidding me?
My wife is not athletic.
Well, Liam's already able to dunk on an 8-foot goal, and Brody's going to be, nose guard or
Yeah, a
something
little
like
bowling
that.
ball. Over
Yeah,
there. But what about coaching? How do you feel about coaching?
So I did.
Yeah,
So I did. So I actually did play soccer.
Did you?
I guess I got. Rhett was already in it, and one of my buddies was like, "Hey, I'm coaching this middle level. It's kind of a middle league. We don't travel, but we're not rec." And he's like, he was pretty high level baseball, played in the minors, and he's like, "I don't know anything about soccer."
I can coach, but I don't know anything
I
about
was
sport.
like, "I don't know anything about baseball," and Rhett loves baseball. So you coach the baseball team, I'll coach the soccer team, and so we've been kind of alternating
That's
and doing
awesome.
some of that.
tag teaming it.
Yeah, it's been fun. We've been coaching together, so the boys are hitting it off really well and loving playing together. So
Cool.
I don't know how long one of them will drop it. I'm sure the way the world works, somebody's going to specialize. But for now, it's a lot of fun.
Good.
I've enjoyed coaching.
Really?
Okay. It kind of lets you know, like, well, my kid's not that bad. Sometimes, you're like, or he's normal, like also sometimes you're like, oh, he's normal.
That bad.
Like,
Love that.
like we had one kid, we're like, dude, just run to the fence, man. Just run until we tell you to not, and like, he's
take
fine.
your time. Take your time.
Oh, so this is what other people's kids are like. Never mind, we're going home.
Now we understand why your kids are in soccer.
Yeah.
Like, please just make them run.
Just make them run in circles early and often.
And I think my son would play cross country. Like, he just likes to run.
Yeah,
we would make them run as a punishment, the whole team. And he'd be the one like taking off, like, yeah, we're running. And we're like, you're not my kid. I don't
understand that this is a punishment.
Right.
Understand.
Don't like it. Okay.
I was the goalie for a reason. I don't like that running.
I was the one guy that didn't have to run.
there.
Okay?
What about Livy Grace? Are you like, because you said that Retta got into like some gymnastics and some of those things like that. Will you do some of that stuff with her?
Yeah, I think so. She's bendy. Like, she likes to balance, and she's got no fear. So I think gymnastics would be a good place to put her. We've got some friends that have gotten into jiu-jitsu, which seems to be kind of like that middle road. You can go to tournaments or you don't have to, so you get the exercise and the coaching, but you don't. You can compete if you want, but you don't have to. So we've kind of talked about putting her in that. Also, that way she can break your arm.
Well, so there's a little bit of that baseline of self-defense thing too. Yeah, I'm into that.
I'm happy with that.
I'm into that for sure.
But I don't know. We'll probably get her into start Happy Feet or something like that. I think 3s when they can. She doesn't turn 3 till April, so it'll probably be this time next year.
Okay. Well, then, so she and Elsa are almost the same age then.
Yeah, she's
because Elsie turns 3 in May.
Oh yeah. She's April. I mean, now I'm in front of everybody. April 8th.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So she's just a month older than Elsa. That's funny. I didn't know that. So what about you talked a little bit about the military influence?
Yeah.
Like with the regimented and like the scheduling and stuff. Is there anything else that's translated or anything that like? Do you have your drill instructor voice or something that comes out every once in a while?
Sometimes I do, because my last assignment was actually teaching ROTC.
Oh, was it really?
Which does have drill instructor components of it. We're definitely not the guys with the hat, all that like you see, but not too far.
That one.
So there are times when the kids are like, "Whoa, where'd that come from?" I'm like,
it's like, "Oh shit, was that Dad?"
That slipped.
I wish I had that voice.
On the kind of flip side of the funny part is, if I get yelled at, so like if my wife and I get in an argument, like it's not uncommon for her to be like, "Why are you not engaged?" Like, well, you're yelling at me, so I've gone to my happy spot. Like, I'm just here.
I've gone to my happy spot.
Just sitting here, like I'm just. You shut me down.
Babe, this is called the disassociation that I learned in basic.
I spent a lot of time just going here, and you've just reactivated
you
it.
Defeated me.
I've gone to my happy place is the best description of that, though. Or you're just getting yelled at, and you're like, "Well, I'm not going to argue back."
I'm stealing
Just
that.
100%.
Boobs, beer,
right.
sports, just not paying attention. That's really
that
funny.
has led to a few arguments.
Oh, that's funny.
But as far as with the kids, it really is. A lot of it's the regiment. Our kids Rhett's at a private school, so he's at Grace Class School, which is uniforms and all that. And,
sure.
When we came in, they're like, okay, we're pretty strict on the uniforms, and it has to look this way. And I was like, you give me the standards, you tell me what they are, my kid will be in it.
Right.
You just let
It'll
me
be
know.
bad. Don't worry.
You need that belt lined up. We got it. Shining and all that.
How's
so,
is the gig line set up? We're ready to go.
Got that. We're good. So it's come in handy. I would definitely say there's a lot of the organization component, which I'm kind of a type A too, and
sure.
I definitely see my son as that. Rhett's a type A. Like he's the kind of kid that lines his Hot Wheels up, according to size or color,
cool,
something like that.
Yeah,
some of that I think the military just honed. So I think
my oldest does that same stuff.
Yeah, he's got one of those.
Yeah, it's really nice. Like his room's generally tidy, and he does it mostly on his own. It's kind of nice. So, that's definitely the kind of stuff you notice is seeing that. I've tried to drop a lot of the military, to be honest.
I don't blame you. No, I get it because I think at least to some extent that's a level too far.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little too harsh. It's a little too much. Where it's like. A little kid doesn't need that kind of doesn't need that much.
Now we may institute push-ups for punishment as he gets older, and that was actually something my parents did not. After about 7, I didn't get spanked much, and I never got grounded. My parents just made me work. So we actually have a pile of rocks in the backyard that my brother and I picked up and put in a pile. Like we just picked up rocks and put them in a
Move the
pile.
pile
From
from
one
one
side
side to the other. Yeah.
And so I think those were some good things as the kids get older. It's like, all right, look, I'm not going to spank you, but you're going to do 50 push-ups.
Right.
You know?
I love that.
I think that sucks, but now it's done. You know,
Right.
there's no extra. I don't have to hit you. So
I think that's kind of good, actually.
Yeah,
I really
And
like that.
that might be kind of the military, but
I mean, I grew up in that culture too.
Yeah,
Yeah, I remember my dad. Yeah, it was the same thing. It's like, yep, you get in trouble. Okay, let's go. And then me and Ali was just talking about this the other night. Whenever I was in high school, college, you know, you'd come home a little late. And a little wobbly.
Just say what you're going to say.
Dad and Mom made sure they woke you up extra early the
Uh-huh.
next morning, and then if it was summer, they were picking out the hottest job they could think of.
Yeah.
And you were doing that all day.
Yeah, you're feeding cows
All-
in the far
No.
pasture.
Yeah. Oh, right. Or it's like we had
And you're walking.
We had a combine with no AC. You're in that combine with no AC all day.
Yeah.
It was like, this sucks.
Yeah,
don't
I missed a
wanna do
float
this
trip
again.
one
Right.
time. I wouldn't even come home drunk. I just came home late. I
Yeah,
missed
sure.
a float trip, and Dad woke me up at like 6:30.
Yeah.
Handed me a sledgehammer at the shop. I was like, "Look, I need the water line from there to there moved. It's about 6 feet.
Dude,
It was
yeah.
concrete." He's like, "When you're done, you're done."
Oh, right.
It took me like 4 hours,
Digging
5
in
hours.
dirt. Yeah, digging in dirt in the middle of summer is just concrete.
He said nothing
too.
else. There was
Yeah.
no other, there was nothing else. Like, it was like, you knew that was it.
You know-
grounding,
you know
no
why you're
phone,
here.
like,
You know
there-
why you're
no
here.
yelling, no screaming. It was just, here's the sledgehammer. I'll see you in a while.
Man,
My parents
memories.
took my car.
I feel like that's more of a punishment for you.
It was
My dad
100%
got
more
a
of a
job
punishment
done,
for my
he didn't have
parents.
to pay,
Uh-huh.
and I learned a lesson, I guess.
Yeah, the problem is I don't have that at the office. Go
Yeah.
click buttons on a computer. Like it used to be like maybe I could go move all
change
the
the
files or
toner.
something.
Yeah.
Nah.
Right, don't even do that anymore.
Yeah, it's just go
Yeah.
click from this button to that button. That's not going to do anybody any good.
All right, Nathan. Well, we always like to kind of the last topic be funny stories,
Yeah.
and you put one down here that I feel like I can really relate to because I think it just happened this week. I don't know what it is with our youngest.
It's in the water.
Our youngest one,
Literally.
yeah. But yeah, way to tee that up. But he loves to do it for some reason, and it makes bath time pretty interesting. So do you have any good bath stories?
Yeah. So as you noted, we do have a good bath story. And I don't know. Let me preface this with we've been trying to kind of potty train Livy Grace. Like it seemed a little early, but she kind of acted like she wanted to, and so she's been big into describing what's about to happen, and toots and all that kind of stuff, right?
Sure.
And so she was taking a bath with my wife, and I was getting ready in the shower because like showers. So now we've got divide and conquer. I don't know how that's helpful or not, but that's where we're at.
They get clean. That's all that matters.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly.
So then I hear her laughing, and she's like Livy Grace tooted, and then she said, "I gotta go poop." Right. So Lee grabs her out of the bathtub, throws her on the toilet, and she's like, "Oh, good. I'm glad I caught her." Our son walks in. He's like, "Mom, you didn't catch her. There's poop." My wife's like, "No, there's not. I moved the bubbles around," and she looks again, and it's just expanding and floating. And
Oh, no.
Oh, expanding is the wrong word.
All in there, And then she looks at me. She's like, "That looks like a job for Dad." And I was like, "What? I'm responsible for the boy right now. I got the boy.
Yeah.
I'm doing shower time.
I'm
Bye.
in shower,
I had a different job.
Yeah. So anyway, I wound up having to clean that up.
Oh man, that has to be a second child thing because
Yeah.
I don't remember our Liam, our oldest, doing it ever.
No, ever. And Rhett's so clean,
maybe
never. He
one
never
time.
did it.
Brody, he's already done it.
This is at least the third time.
I was gonna say
probably for us.
5 or 6 times, and Brody,
That's
he's almost
so
2.
funny.
He's not even 2 yet.
Well, I alluded to Elsie being sick earlier, and during that sickness time, the first time we knew it was that we could tell she wasn't feeling well, but we've got this giant tub upstairs that we don't use. We're remodeling a bathroom.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Indoor
an
pool.
obnoxious
Indoor
tub
pool.
in there. But I set the little baby pool,
Oh,
the
sure.
little baby
Yeah,
tub
yeah.
inside the tub, fill that up, and then I was sitting in the tub with a little bit of water in there myself. And Elsie obviously wasn't feeling well. Shit
Yeah.
in the little tub.
Oh no.
And I was able to
Diarrhea?
keep it.
Did you catch it in the little tub?
But I was able to keep it in the little
Oh,
tub,
yeah, good.
and I'm sitting
Dad
in
hack.
water in the big tub.
Well done, sir.
Oh my
Well
God! Oh, get me out of here!
Well done, sir. Well done.
Golf clap.
Almost a real problem. Almost a real shitty day.
Literally.
Yeah, it was
Literally.
having a boy. She's having an older brother. She is all about poop. Like it's
Dude. Yeah.
it's hilarious to her.
Yeah. Again, it has to be a second child thing. Speaking about the older brother, what about Rhett? Interrupting you and letting you know he's hungry.
This has been probably been a year, and he's always had a pretty big vocabulary. So he's always just kind of, we've always talked to him like an adult.
Yeah.
And because he was the firstborn, and he just was around, and so we'd been working on manners because he talks all the time, kind of like his dad. It just never stops. And so we've been working on
got
like,
one of
hey,
those.
don't interrupt. Mom and dad are talking, right? Don't interrupt. And so we're all sitting down, and Lee and I started eating, and we're talking, and he keeps trying to interrupt. He's like, Mom, excuse me. Mom, excuse me. Like, Lee's like, buddy, like, give me a second. I'm talking to your dad. Finally, he just goes, excuse me, Mom, I don't have any food. We made everybody's place.
Oh, that's really funny.
Nod said his on the table.
But you guys were so dialed into each other.
That's
awesome.
And the poor kid, we kept blowing him off, and he was finally like, just, I'm going for it. I'm interrupting. I'm going for it.
I am starving. I need food.
Where is my chicken nugget?
In a couple minutes, he's gonna get yelled at for not eating. Like, he knows he's about to get in trouble if he doesn't eat. And he's like, I don't know what to do. Like, I gotta eat. I don't have food. I can't interrupt. You can just see the wheels turn into the panic.
That's awesome.
Started to kind of come in and yeah, that was one of those we just lost it. Like, you can't help but laugh.
Right,
You're just like, well, that was well played, son.
That's great.
What about wasps?
Yeah, so this one is also fairly recent. This is kind of crazy. So it was after that big storm we had a couple weeks ago. Everybody had, you guys are insurance, right? So everybody had everything.
Unfortunately, yeah.
So we were over at my parents' house, and they had a massive tree. I mean, this thing was huge, probably 5 or 6 feet in diameter, like huge, right? So I sent Red over there to go. I was like, "Hey, go stand by this. Let's take a picture." Well, he steps on a ground hornet or ground wasp nest.
Oh, hail. Those guys are mean.
Oh, they are so mean. And I didn't see him at first. Like, he starts screaming, and I thought he just stepped on a thorn. But then he gets to that, that elevated, like, this is something really wrong.
Yeah, you can tell.
Like,
you can tell. There's a level.
And he goes to that level immediately. And then, so I pick him up, and I'm trying to run with him, and we're getting stung. And, I drop him, and I'm hitting him and trying to hit the wasp. And then they start chasing Lee. And so she's running, like batting them out of her hair, going, ah!
Yeah.
Trying to get him. And so for the next 3 days, Livy Grace kept just looking at her mom and pointing and going, "Mommy, constantly just pointing at her and doing it. And it was, she did it for 3 or 4 days solid, and she still will if we're like, hey, remember when Mom the bugs? And, she's 2 feet tall. It's adorable and
it's hilarious.
Just absolutely ruthless. Some of the stuff she's totally calling you out. She's absolutely
just talking crap is what she's doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. She's just heckling. she's gonna be a great hockey player, just smack talking from the side.
Oh, absolutely.
Chirping.
That is her for sure.
Well, speaking of telling jokes and chirping, we got to get to everybody's favorite part of the podcast.
What's everybody's favorite part?
It's Dad Joke of the Week.
Oh, yeah.
All right, it's time for it. I'm gonna make our guest go first. I'm gonna put him on the spot. What do you got, Nate?
Nice. All right. All right, so we talked about the military, right? And that one of the few things that I've kind of kept from my military training is just being able to handle situations. I don't get stressed out much. But I have found the one thing that I can't deal with is a deck of cards that's been glued together.
Yeah?
So, yeah. A deck of cards glued together, can't deal with it.
Oh! Wow.
Dang it, man. The real dad jokes go right over my head.
For real. I was like, where, keep going.
Where's the punchline,
I may have
Nate?
said it to you, but my delivery was a little nervous.
Once you said it the second time, I was like,
hey, McCartney, where's the punchline?
Yep. That's good.
Damn it.
Okay,
Nice
that's
work,
good.
dude. That's solid.
Yeah, it's so good. Yeah, neither one of us got it the first time.
Cheeseburgers or bananas?
Am I supposed to pick one?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Cheeseburgers.
Cheeseburger walks into a bar. Bartender says, "We don't serve food here."
Yeah. Okay.
There's another one. It's like wait, what?
I feel like all of our jokes are kind of going to be the same here. Okay.
I'm actually using that one tomorrow. I'm going to use that one.
All right.
Cheeseburger walks into a bar. Ouch. Sorry, go ahead.
No. Yeah. No. Like I
But
said,
delete that one off the list.
Yeah. Make sure you don't use that next episode. Yeah, I feel like all three of ours are going to be the same. Get the same reaction. Okay. So you guys know Dickerson Park Zoo, right?
Of course.
I feel like we have a
Absolutely.
pretty good zoo here in Springfield,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
Okay. Well, when we did our road trip a few weeks back, we stopped by a zoo, and it really wasn't that good because it only had one animal in the whole zoo,
Seems lame.
right? And it was a dog,
That's not a great zoo.
right? It was a Shih Tzu.
Nice.
That's a good one.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Well,
Terrible jokes.
in the interest of time, we better bring this thing to a close. Not because we had 3 shitty dad jokes. Well, 1 good one and 2 jokes that are too stupid.
I just can't deal with it.
Yeah, I know. So funny. God. Dang it, dude. I'm so mad I missed that.
I am too.
I'm so mad at
I should have
myself.
slowed my delivery,
I'm
but I
like,
got
no.
nervous.
Why
I got
didn't I get
nervous.
Here's what I'm going to tell you. It's not your fault. It is entirely mine. So, man, I hope you had fun. We had a great time. We appreciated you being here.
For real.
We do have to say thanks to everybody on social media. Please be sure to like, share, subscribe, do all the social media stuff. Send us your dad jokes. Send us your dad hacks. We want to hear about them so we can steal them and use them on the show. We'll credit you, but we're still going to steal them. So I think we say thank you again. Way to go, decent dad.
Yeah, thanks,
Way to
guys.
go, Nathan.
It's fun.
Nice
Good job,
work,
buddy.
Anybody else have anything else?
I got nothing.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Bueller? Right. Thanks, brother. Appreciate you. All right. We'll see you next time.
If I was going to say anything like Drew, it taught me stress.
Mm.
I mean, when
How
COVID
to
hit, I
handle
was like,
stress.
dude, no one's shooting me at there's rockets. Like, I'm fine.
Dude, so
Like,
freaking it's
life
not
is so much better than it, you
it's
know?
not life and death. I get it.
Yeah, my first 45 minutes in Afghanistan, we got rocketed. And I was like, oh, this is how it's going to be.
Hello,
I mean,
Afghanistan.
yeah, I was standing in line, and the British guys in front of me, we were standing in line to eat. I'd been flying for like 3 days, it felt like by that point.
Mm-hmm.
And the British guys in front of me like looked around and didn't get out of line. I was like, well, shit, if I get out of line, I'm going to lose my spot. I'm hungry.
Yeah.
I just like I was like, I guess, okay, welcome. You know, I was like, this is how it is.
Holy
And really
crap.
kind of ever since then, I was like, well, if it's my day, it's my day. And that's the lesson the military has prevailed. Like our junk truck blew up today. My business partner was freaking out. I was like, dude, it's gonna be fine. Figure it out.
Man.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm
Dude.
just way more calm than a lot of guys. That
Interesting.